everybody know that's Big Dick B.
Hi, I'm Nick. As you can probably assume, this is another amazing top 10 video. Remember my Pokemon Legends Arceus video? It sucked, right? Which I hate, because my favorite video game franchise, second favorite video game franchise, doesn't fit my format at all, but then again, it would feel so weird not to make a video on a game that I've had so much fun with. So that's how I thought of ranking my 10 favorite Pokemon from Generation 9, the Scarlet and Violet games, the new ones, if you couldn't tell. This gen has so many great designs that have become instant favorites. However, there are also a bunch that I find so goddamn bad and ugly and lame and disgusting. I also wanted to limit my list only to Pokemon I actually used on my team. I only used like 8, so it was kind of difficult to even narrow down 10 that I found worthy of this list, but eventually I did, obviously. So if you want to put your favorites in the comments, I'd love to hear which ones resonated with you, whether they're similar to mine or not. Just don't be a dick. Alright, well let's get right to it. And if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get your almost weekly dose of me. What would you ever do without it?
Oh my god! I think Chris is having a heart attack!
We're not supposed to leave the table!
Like I said, I only used 8 Pokemon throughout my entire game, so number 10 will purely be based on design alone. Regardless, how freaking cool is Annihilape? I always had a liking for the Mankey line ever since I was a kid. I never used one in any game ever, but I always thought he was kinda cool looking. Then when I realized that it got so angry that it died and evolved, I loved it even more. Maybe that's how I'm gonna die. But it's okay, I'll come back as a rage ghost like Primeape did. It kind of feels like I used one, because I watched Purple Cliff's streams and he had one on his team. Huge shout out to him, by the way, he's freaking hilarious. I would have loved to use him, but I already had a fighting type and a ghost type on my team, so there was no reason to have him. But if I had to build a second team from scratch, he'd be the leader of the bunch.
They need to let me make the new Transformer movie.
Again, as you've heard twice already, I don't know why I wrote it in the script again, I only used 8 Pokemon. Technically. There was one little fella who was with me throughout the entire game.
Oh, man.
And for me, that was Miraidon. When the box legendaries were initially revealed, I thought Koraidon was one of the most badass Pokemon ever, and I thought Miraidon looked mid as hell. Then, many trailers later, it was revealed that both of these motherfuckers turn into goddamn motorcycles. I get it. The ride Pokemon in Legends Arceus were very useful and fun, Braviary was great to fly around with, and Weirdeer was a majestic mount, so obviously, it would be fun to have them back for the next mainline game. But why does Koraidon turn into a motorcycle and puff his chest out and curl his tail up like tires if he's gonna run on all 4s anyway? If he just ran on all 4s, it would look fine, but why the hell does he make tires if he's not even gonna use them? It's such a nonsensical design. Who thought of that? What idiot thought that was a... whatever. But that is almost the entire reason why I picked Violet over Scarlet, because Miraidon's wheels turn. But as I collected the Herba Mystica with Arven, Miraidon gained so much more of a personality, as well as so many abilities that allow for a lot of fun climbing, swimming, flying, and swag driving. And spoiler alert, the final boss against the Robo Professor, where he sends out another one, and you realize, oh shit, it's a 1v1, went so hard. Okay, now let's start talking about my actual team members that really stood out to me. The first being...
Clearly you've never made an omelet.
You know who's cool? Pikachu! He's a world champion now, after all. You know what every Pokemon game has? Pikachus! Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. You know where this is going. Palmot. Usually, with the standard Pikachu clones, I really don't give a shit about them. Does anybody? I don't know a single dude who has ever used fucking Dedenne and... Oh, right. Forgot about you. Anyway, this one really stands out to me because it actually has an evolutionary line, being the first since the real Pikachu. I thought Palmy was going to be another Morpeko, but no, it actually turns into a valuable team member for me. Being the first electric fighting type, it was super helpful early in the game, and maybe if I hadn't made a certain mistake, it would have stayed on my team. But sadly, as I said earlier, the fighting spot was filled, which sucks, because Palmot is definitely my favorite fighter with his Tony Stark-esque repulsors.
Yeah, that a shit stain in my juice?
You will lose your lives.
You know what's crazy? How many new Pokemon there are in this game that are based on new animals? Like, How many goddamn birds are there? Now we actually have some variety. We got the stupid-ass moose, an asphyxiated flamingo, a car, and what I think is probably a lot of people's favorites as well, the damn dolphin, Palafin. First of all, what a convoluted evolution method. Who would have guessed that you needed to play online with somebody else in your world just to give it some ink on its chest? Like, what if you had no friends? Or just no friends that had the game? Luckily, Abby played Scarlet alongside me, so I was able to get one during the post-game. Oh, One For All replaced a certain water fighting type mistake while I was rematching the gym leaders in preparation for the school's tournament, and it was fun keeping him up front and immediately flip turning in order to activate Zero to Hero as soon as any battle started. Speaking of, when all of the new Pokemon were initially leaked, I thought Palafin's hero design was just awful. I couldn't get behind it, but like a lot of the newbies, he's grown on me a lot, and I'm glad I gave him a chance, though he is still really friggin' ugly.
Do we have to bring this crap? I'm sure there's crap where we're going.
Shit! What a fun word. One of my favorites and most used words. It runs in the family, my mom's side. So I'm sure you can picture how thrilled I was when I discovered the literal shit Pokemon, Raylor and Rabska. When planning out my team before the game came out, I originally wanted Toad's Cruel, and she sucked, of course. How on brand for me. But I had always planned for Rabska to be the next in line just in case one from my original lineup was bad or only available in the late game. Thankfully, unlike Toadette, Crapload fit in perfectly. I honestly don't care much for bug-type Pokemon. Thinking back, I've never used a single one in my entire life. But her surprising tankiness really helped, especially when using Revival Blessing, which has come in handy many times. Its Dex entry also says that the ball of shit is actually the Pokemon, so yes. We live in a timeline where a ball of fucking shit can fight a goddamn Mewtwo. There is a god. Praise Arceus!
I'm so cold that I'm shivering.
Actually, speaking of my original lineup, there was one other Pokemon that I wanted that didn't make the cut because it was only available in the post-game, being Iron Thorns. Hot take. Tyranitar is not that cool. I'm sorry. Worst of the pseudo-legendaries. But Iron Thorns was so much cooler to me. Too bad I never used it. Instead, I used the newest pseudo-legend, Baxcalibur. Another that I found ugly from the leaks. I really didn't expect to use him. But I found Frigibax so early in the game, like, at the time I only had beaten, like, 2 gyms and couldn't use it because it was level 39. Also, Frigibax, ugh, one of the ugliest Pokemon ever. It looks like a Trico got stung by a bee and died. But it's all good. He was angry, so he came back. Hailspawn, one of the most badass names I've ever given to a Pokemon, by the way, was an absolute unit, being a Dragon Ice type, and I was even able to teach it an electric move to substitute for the loss of Stark. He's no pneumatic baby cannon, but he's definitely in my top 3 pseudos. Way to prove me wrong.
I finally found him. The Iblis Trigger.
Alright, I've been thinking of how to start this segment for like 20 minutes, and I can't think of anything. So, Ceruledge, he's cool, right? Huh? Okay, maybe I lied. Miraidon isn't the only reason I picked Violet. This dude with the crazy fire blade arms made of a dead dude's pettiness was the main reason, because he was one of my most wanted Pokemon. Luckily, I found him randomly on one of the first routes on my first day playing, even though he's apparently kind of a rare spawn. Lucky me. His move, Bitter Blade, is one of the best moves, too, in my opinion. Not just against those weak to it, but literally anything that crosses Iblis's path. Yeah, that's right. I named him after the Flames of Disaster, known as Iblis. And if at critical health, if he's up against something like a grass type, one use of the move and he's back in business. He also had Solar Beam, which is the only grass move on my team, which kind of was a terrible idea since damn near every type weak to grass is also strong to fire. I should probably fix that.
You can't just leave me here on a dock up the creek without a...
It's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, who I think is the best of the starters. The one Pokemon that is meant to be your partner throughout your entire journey. Seeing as I have a great history with water starters, Greninja's my favorite Pokemon of all time, by the way. He was my first ever Pokemon. I'm sure you can all guess who it is. Quaxley! Not Quaquavel. Quaxley. Like, look at this guy. He's the best starter since Froakie. We have the same haircut. How could I not pick him? I was so hyped to take on the world with old Slickback, but then his evolutions got leaked. I did not like what I saw, but it was such a tiny picture. Maybe once we got a better look at him, he'd look better. He didn't. Okay, so he's ugly as but who knows? Maybe he'll grow on me like Cinderace did. He didn't. I knew I should have gave him an Everstone. I don't even mind Quaxwell, he's alright, but Quaxley is just such a perfect design. He definitely would have made the top of the list if his evolution wasn't an eyesore. Legit, I hate this guy. I hate Quaxley so much. My topic for my final speech in my communications class this semester in college was about how much I hated him. I got an A, by the way. Poggers. I'm cutting that. Fuck. Who here has been a Nick gamer for a while? Yeah, I like the sound of that. You guys are the Nick gamers now. Get used to it. Well, if you have been here for a while, then this shouldn't surprise you. How awesomely cute is Grafaiai? Obviously, damn near every video I make has some sort of Madagascar joke in it. Hell, I've been trying to plan a Madagascar month ever since I started the channel. So obviously I needed to put Maurice on my team.
You're a phony!
Okay, so I named him Vandal. Does that make me a fake fan? Then you tell me who Skipper's two supposed fallen soldiers are. That's what I thought. Who's the fake fan now, bitch? Look at him. What's he thinking about? His next masterpiece, probably. Of course, what else would he be thinking of? He is a famous painter, after all. I also love how he's the only Pokemon that flips people off. That's really cool. Okay, for real. He was one of the earliest members of my team, and I picked him up outside the school, and, well, he's been on my team longer than anybody. He's also shockingly tanky. This guy can take some serious blows. I just love this little guy. He's such a real one. And speaking of one, let's get this over with.
It used to be a lot worse. They had this giant hammer. Oh, they brought it back.
Fucking shocker. I'm sure literally everyone thinks Tinkaton is the best new Pokemon. Like, look at her. She's just a little badass girl that runs around giving dudes the full English breakfast. As soon as I saw her, I knew I liked her, but then her Pokedex entries really display how much of a vicious, cold-blooded predator that she is. This bitch is on top of the motherfucking food chain. Like, she was bullied by steel types as a child, so she started slaughtering Pawniards and Corviknights, turning her weakness into her greatest strength, being that Gigaton hammer. Who thought that this move was fair at dealing 160 damage? I mean, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong, it's just busted. Scrap Heap is the heart and soul of the team and my entire Gen 9 experience. I got this girl hyper-trained, and I capped her level while everyone else was still in the late 70s, and she and I ruled the roost. If I had to build a team of all my favorite Pokemon of all time, she would be on it. And damn, this team actually is really bad. There's 2 ice types, 2 fairy types, 2 dark types, and 2 ghost types. Oh well, I love them all, suck it. She was even the one to take down Charizard the Unrivaled against all odds. That's how good she is. Everyone should have a Tinkaton on their team. If you don't, then you're missing out on one of the best Pokemon of all time. And that's my squad. And Quaxley. Sure, the game was buggy as mess, but who cares? It's the most fun I've ever had in a Pokemon game. I've sunk in like 80 hours into it, and it will likely be one of my most played Switch games. It's a blast, so if you haven't already, please play it, glitches and all, you will not regret it. Alrighty, thanks for watching the newest episode of Nick's Game Room. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it, and if you decide to get the game for yourself, do yourselves a favor, pick the cat, or pick the gator. That's how I ended my Quaxley speech for my class. God, fuck Quaxley.